First of all, this side of the room, just go ahead and stretch a little bit. I can see you guys getting tired. This side of the room is sitting comfortably. They're enjoying it. They have lots of wine. I see a lot of this over here, shifting to the hips. I have a 2-month-old baby, and so if I sway a little bit all the time, that's what's going on. If I start to talk to you in baby talk, that's why. My brain is half baby, half functioning man. So thank you guys for having me. First of all, thank you Arturo, thank you Cameron, thank you Kluge, thank you for the 405 for not having any accidents on the way up. But I want to do a special thank you to Jamie and to Bud for joining me tonight. It's not easy to get up in front of a crowd like this and to put together a talk. It takes work and effort and time. And so can we give them a huge, I'm sorry we're going to disrupt the place where you live, Arturo, but a huge thank you and round of applause for coming out tonight. Apparently Bud has a culture that 10 minutes means 20, and Jamie has a funnel that nails 10 minutes on the spot. I was impressed. So if I get at 15, I'm good. I'm right in the middle, right? So I want to talk about 5 questions that lead to brand innovation. 10 minutes is really fast. It's why I wrote a book that's 300 pages long. So to distill that down to 10 minutes is a difficult task. But first of all, if you pull out your phone and tweet, you can use this hashtag, you won't offend me. I'd love to connect with you. My email address is if you put the letter J before the @Jeremiah Gardner and @.com, you can email me. I will email you back. It used to be 24 hours. It's now slid into the 48-hour mark, but I will email you back. And so please tweet, share, join the conversation online. This is who I am. You heard my bio. I hate bios, but it's my bio. So first of all, the first question that leads to brand innovation is, what is a brand? And I just want to pose that. And I might get outside the box, but that's okay, because I don't really care about the video. And that is, what's a brand? Anybody? No right, no wrong answer, just what's a brand? How do you think about a brand? What is it? Yeah?
A brand is the core values. It's the persona of your company and how you project that to the world.
Okay, core values, persona, how I project it. Yep, right there. The impression in your customer's mind. Okay, good. Back.
The transformational experience is the before that your customer interacts with you that consistently delivers you same after.
So it's a werewolf. I become a werewolf when the moon comes out. That's a brand. I'm just kidding. It's good. Yeah.
Identity.
Identity. Okay, good. Anyone else? Did we miss anything? Yeah.
How you build trust.
How you build trust. Okay, good. There's always someone in the back of the room being like, I don't know about that one. And there's a burning like, no, really a brand is this. So who's that person in the room? What did we miss? Yeah, in the back. There he is. Yeah, I told you.
It's the relationship you have with your customer.
Great T-ball, Scott, right? So as he stole my thunder, my point about those 5 little letters is that brand is a word that's a suitcase word, right? All of the definitions that you kind of floated out are not wrong, nor are they inherently right, because we pack a lot of meaning into this word brand. In fact, we can't even decide on what part of speech it is in the English language. So a brand gets used as a noun when we say a brand, and then we turn around often in the same sentence and use it as a verb when we say I need to brand myself or brand our company. Then it's a possessive noun when it's my brand or your brand. And it's a synonym when we start to talk like about headlines like 15 top brands in customer service or top safety rated brands in the automotive industry. And so we can't even decide on what particle of speech it is, much less what the meaning is. And so if you want to get to brand innovation, if you want to innovate on that brand, the first question you have to ask is, what do we mean when we say brand? And what I think we're getting at with these definitions, and as Scott T-balled it up, is that it's something much deeper than a logo or a shitty mission statement or something that really doesn't matter. It's the relationship that we develop with our audience. It's a relationship that develops between me as a company and them as an audience. And it's shared, and it ought to create value. And if you think about it from that perspective, we have relationships with companies every day. There are companies we love, there's companies we hate, right? I know I love Ray-Bans. If Ray-Bans went out of business tomorrow, I'd probably not wear glasses, which means I couldn't drive, which means it'd be terrible for me, right? And there's probably companies like that, whereas I hate other companies. And it's just strong visceral reaction. And that's because it's the way that we as human beings relate to the world around us. So first of all, brand is, capital IS, the relationship that develops between an audience and an organization. The second question we have to ask, if we want to innovate with that, is what don't we know about that relationship? How many of you are startup founders? Anybody, any startup founders? Awesome. Congratulations. It's amazing. I love entrepreneurs. I work with them every day. It's a huge bridge to jump off of. And guess what? There's a lot of things you don't know, and that's okay. And when it comes to the relationship that we develop with an audience, there are tons of things we don't know. So what don't we know, first and foremost, about the relationship that's developing between us and our audience? Oftentimes, and I love that Jamie kind of t-balled this up as well, a customer is going to go through a series of behaviors or steps in order to become your customer, right? This is called the value stream. You can kind of look at it as a customer journey without a map, and that is that customers will go through some sort of journey to become your customer. And oftentimes when we think about brand, what we're thinking about is how many eyeballs can I get? How much marketing can I do to make people aware of me, right? How much can I get my article published on TechCrunch? How many Twitter followers can I get? But if we can get awareness and we convince them to buy from us, do we ask the question, what does a passionate user look like? And so what don't we know about the way that customers form a relationship with us? Do we know why they might become passionate? Do you know how they're finding us? Do we know who our customer is in the first place? It's the starting place for the relationship. The second question is, if we don't know that now, what can we build today? Not tomorrow, not next week. What could we do right now to start learning? In the old way, I call this the myth of the brand genius. When it came to brand, what we did is we built large-scale things. So if you've ever been through a branding process, we asked really ridiculously stupid questions like, if you were a dog, what kind of dog would you be? If you were a glass of wine or a cocktail, which one would you be? What's your mission statement? An entrepreneur doesn't fucking know what his mission statement is. We don't. We don't know what our customer is. So designing around huge things, designing around big bets, is actually buying into this idea that we can broadcast some sort of message out to us and that be enough. Back in the day when branding became some sort of business activity, it's exactly what we did. Because we could broadcast through what? Print, we could broadcast through radio, and TV was an emerging thing. Name me 3 things that are dying in the world today. Print, radio, and television. Well, maybe television might have life, but not television as we knew it. And so if we attempt to approach the relationship that we develop with an audience by broadcasting some sort of mission statement, we're actually buying into the myth that there's no way for us to respond back, that our customers will blindly accept it. In fact, what's changed in the world today is that now I can respond directly back immediately. Communication is synchronous and asynchronous. It's laggard and it's real time. It's happening now and it can happen next week. If all of us pulled out our phones right now and said, man, San Diego, the Target at San Diego, right, is just filthy dirty. It's terrible. I can't believe what's happening there. And we just tweeted that out in your own words. I've always wanted to try this. We haven't done it yet. Do you think that someone's job at Target's on the line right now? Do you think someone at corporate is probably paying attention to that tweet and going, what's going on in San Diego? Do you think people in Target are going, wait, where's the party? What happened, right? Yes, and we're all liars, right? The point is that I have control, I have power because the relationship is actually equal. Whereas before, it was just broadcast power. I accept it or I don't accept it. Now, I have the same power that a company does. The myth of the brand genius says that you can outsource that relationship through the use of a logo or a color scheme or a mission statement or a landing page and broadcast myself out without ever paying attention to what happens and expect radiant results. Today, great brand development isn't about your broadcast. It's about the discovery and delivery of value. And what do I mean by value? Is that it creates value for your customer and it's shared because as you have customers, you then share in that value. You can have the greatest business plan. Anyone ever written a business plan? Congratulations, you're a fiction writer. It's awesome, right? You can have the greatest business plan, the most tight product, the most incredible elevator pitch, and if you don't have an audience and customers, you have nothing but paper. Value is discovered in forming that relationship with you. So lean branding is really about innovation through experimentation, managed only by validated learning. What don't we know? What could we do now to start learning about that? And finally, how will we know that we're learning? So it's not enough just to say, oh, I know. I don't know this, so I can do this. I did it. Hooray! How do I know that I'm learning? The key metric for any startup, and I would say for any design type of development, is not the unit of success, but the unit of learning. Learning is where discovery happens. And as you discover, you learn where to execute, you learn when to pull back, you learn where to eliminate waste, and you learn where value is being delivered. So it's very simple. If we do X in order to learn, we hypothesize that Y% of people will behave in this way. This is where surveys break down terribly. If I ask you, do you like the color blue? I've taken it completely out of context. Yes or no? If I ask you, would you use my product? Sorry, Arturo, but we're in Arturo's crib, I think was the way that you put it. If Arturo walks around and says, is my baby cute? You're going to say, oh yeah. It may be really ugly, but you're like, yeah, it's nice. You know, it's nice. Because I'm going to lie to you, right? Because I'm going to feel bad if I don't. When we simply look at surveys and not match the question that we're asking to the behavior that we're targeting, we're losing learning. We've actually stopped learning and only created false or vanity metrics. So when you build something, you have to have a hypothesis about how people will behave and where the metric for success is. Making sense? Yep. Give me a nod if this is making sense. Just hang with me. I promise we're almost done, standers. For the rest of you, we're going to stay another 10 minutes. And oftentimes when we are designing brand experiments, we want to go big. Ask any first-time entrepreneur, who's your audience? Well, women. Okay. Women who what? Breathe. Oh, okay, right, okay. Well, everybody could use this product. I mean, anyone could use it, right? And of course, they're going to love it, right? Ask a second-time entrepreneur who your audience is. Well, men who are 18 to 43 who drive BMWs and live in West Hollywood. Great. That doesn't tell you anything, does it? Ask a real entrepreneur who his audience is or who her audience is, and she'll say, well, I built a square hat. My audience is people with square heads. Think about that for a minute. Demographics tell you very little about the behavior and the person that's going to buy your product. When we talk about target markets, I hate that word because it's not a target or a market that pulls out their wallet and pays you for something. It's a human being who pulls their wallet out and says, I'm convinced enough to pay this person some money. So who are they? Do you know your top most passionate customers? Who are they? You should know them by name. I know the 10 top most passionate people about my book. And in fact, I've developed a great relationship with them. And I think that one of them was here a couple weeks ago speaking, which is awesome because I'm all about them and they're all about me and it's a great relationship. We can't bet on one or on everyone. There's no product in the world that is for everyone except for air and water, which no one has a market on that, right? No one owns that. Not yet. Wow, that's a very, very dire view of the world, right? Like, there are people that love Google, and there are people that hate Google, right? It's true. Some of them are in the room here. Not for everybody. Probably the biggest product we know, right? There are people that love Apple and hate Apple. That's okay, because it's their relationship. So you can't start at everyone. Oh, okay, yeah, of course, my market's 18 to 41-year-olds, right? That's some. Oh, no, it's actually women who live in this place. That's some, a few. Real innovation starts at one. Can you convince one person that you are worth it to develop a relationship with? Can you test and measure why they became passionate about you? Why they were satisfied by your product? How did they hear about you? Do you know how that happened? Real innovation isn't a big bet. It starts at one. And the final question, the fifth one, is what's next? And this is simply to say, in lean methodology, there's the build, measure, learn loop. I'm sure some of you know of it. We went through it tonight. What can I build in order to gain learning? How will I measure? What's the metric that I'll measure? What did I learn from that? What can I build next? Right? Branding is not about a big bet. No one gives a shit about your logo. Sorry, guys, if you sell them. I'm probably offending some people in the room. But a logo is a reflection of a relationship. It can't create it. No one cares if your mission statement reads, we aim to be the #1 gold service standard in customer service and the most respected company in the world in our industry by 2020. I don't give a shit. If you buy from a company because of their mission statement, hallelujah to you. I think I'd like to meet you afterwards. No one cares about your color scheme. No one cares about these things that we invest so much time and money on and that we facade around calling branding. What people care about is who you are. If you're an entrepreneur, there's a reason you're an entrepreneur. There's a reason that you started the product in the company that you started. And no one can tell you what that reason is. No one can dress that up. The illusion of polish in branding is just a backward-looking illusion. The reality is, can we discover where value is being created and for whom? That's where innovation comes. So, innovation is about failure. Innovation is about learning. Innovation is not about polish. That's the Lean Brand in 10 minutes. Thank you guys so much.